All right, y'all. So season 6 for Squadra should actually be next week. I think everything is pointing to that release date. The season pass is ending next week. A bunch of the existing banners are leaving next week. The Xenoverse collab ends next week. Like, it's just all pointing to that. Along with this, Bulma came out on the 17th. I think 3 weeks later will be about enough time for them to drop another new character. So, I mean, it'll be exciting, right? Seeing what season 6 is going to be. I assume we'll see that announced this weekend, considering that it should drop on the 8th, right? At least 7th or 8th, depending on your time zone. Now, I'll say we'll see an announcement for this within the next few days, but I'll do a separate video talking about that another time. Today, we're going to be talking about game balance again. Yes! I love talking about game balance. No, but I think that there are a few changes that need to be made to the roster, of course, and hopefully we'll see some of these changes in next week's patch. Do I think that they could flip the meta? Yes, I think they can. I think the first patches of every single season are usually like very massive. They change a lot to every single character, or at least nearly every single character. And there's always good and bads, right? But I think the idea for them is to try and flip the meta around. The issue is I feel like the meta has been kind of stagnant the past season or two. So I just think that there needs to be some change, honestly, to what characters are good or bad or things like that. I mean, I feel like the last time we've seen a big like flip in the meta is season 3 to an extent, right? I mean, we're always going to get new characters that fit into the meta really well, but I feel like in terms of like what characters are good and what characters are bad, that hasn't really changed too much, or more so maybe even what characters are the best in the game. So I would like to see a bunch of changes there. Now, I feel like tanks and technicals are generally in a good spot, which is nice. A lot of the sauce comes from DPS. I mean, I could go down the list, but I think I have this tweet here from Annie, which I think talks about this, I think, in a really good way. With Gexen team actually listening to feedback about the creator program, I want to be hopeful and believe they'll do the same with the balance. Just say F it, gigantic balance patch where you change all the meta and non-meta characters and force through a different meta. So this is Annie's idea for what we could see in terms of a patch. So must nerfs, obviously God Goku and Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I think these two have held the reign of the game for too long, and I think the only issue with Super Saiyan 3 is you nerf him too much, then you remove skill 1 boost or healing attack or both. It's like you'll see a really big drop in him. But honestly, this guy he was really good in season 1. He was quite decent in season 4, and he's very strong in season 5. You could argue season 5 is the best Super Saiyan 3 Goku has ever felt. Even in season 1, when he was kind of like the big monster, I think that right now he feels more impressive than what he had in the past. He definitely does need a nerf, right? Somewhere along the line of his like multiple buffs, they went too far. In my opinion, it's probably his passive. So I think nerfing that could be really interesting. The length of his beam is also kind of crazy, but I think there's multiple ways you could tackle this guy and kind of bring him back down to an acceptable level. At the very least, to a point where maybe he's not just picked every single game, right? God Goku, he has been meta pretty much, I wouldn't say necessarily since he came out, but like since like this first or second buff he received, he was like in a very strong spot. Then they overdid it for sure. They vastly overdid it. Then he got a nerf, but he got a nerf to the wrong thing. Right? Like if we take a look at his abilities, skill 2 is the least offensive part of his kit, which is kind of funny considering that skill 2 is still really good. This move one shots most characters in the game. Like it generally does. Like you have Red Fury up, you have a Snowball Stacker 2. Yeah, this move is disgusting. It snipes and one shots most characters, and I don't think that's okay. Like obviously you have to hit it, but it's not like it's that hard, especially once it's maxed out. Well, mostly what I'm talking about here. His ultimate, it's too good. Like I don't know, it's just too good. I feel like the damage it does with Red Fury is also just absolutely insane. I just don't know. Like, the amount of damage that this could do as a global ultimate is kind of crazy. And the fact that they didn't touch skill 1 or skill, or I said skill 3, or his ultimate at all. Instead, they nerfed his skill 2, which is like the nerf that they gave this is pretty much nothing. Like they did nothing for this guy at all. So I'm hoping maybe they have like plans for more nerfs for this guy. That would be ideal. Now we can talk about Super Vegito here in this list, like in terms of must nerf. I think that Super Vegito as a character that should be nerfed, it does make sense, right? Because of the fact that I think this guy has been meta, or at least in the realm of meta, ever since he came out. Like, if you think about it, I mean, he got buffed like once or twice, but when has Super Vegito ever really been bad? I would say he's never really been bad. Like, you could say he maybe was not like one of the top picks, but I think especially right now, this guy is really insane. And you know, let's think through season 4. This guy still held his own. I mean, he's probably just, I would say, I won't even say probably, he's like the best dive character in the game, right? He very easily could just pick someone out, and if you know what you're doing with him, he could just eliminate them, and that opens up a lot of possibilities. He's like one of the answers, quote unquote, to like Super Saiyan 3 or Godku comp, you know? That could obviously just like be good, but if these two get nerfed, which they should get nerfed, this guy I think also has to go down with them, and it would allow other characters to kind of shine a little bit. Bulma is another character. I don't know what they're thinking. She just does too much of everything. She needs to be nerfed, like somewhere. I would argue don't nerf the tank aspects of her, but rather the, like, her speed is way too good. The fact that she's able to just like permanently have defense step is kind of crazy. I think the biggest issue is like the speed and mobility she has. She should not have that much speed and mobility for a tank. Plus a AoE stun on her ultimate with the amount of mobility she has on that is kind of crazy. It's too good. I think Bardock getting nerfed is also very valid because he's closer to being, I think he's closer to Bulma than he is to the rest of the tanks. And I feel like, again, tanks are in a good spot, but yeah. Now, I will talk about the rest of these characters potentially later, but I do want to look at some of the replies I got here just because I don't want to talk too much about it. But I pretty much agree with Annie. Like, of the big characters that need to be nerfed, it is those 5 characters. I think those 5 seeing nerfs would just allow other characters to shine in the meta, and we could see just a whole different kind of meta again. Maybe, like, a worst case scenario, we just see like Super Saiyan Goku come back, but like I'm not even sure if that's going to be the case, because the thing now is, again, Super Saiyan Goku isn't bad, but he's very simple and straightforward. I mean, at the same time though, he's very good, so like, you know, I wouldn't be surprised him, maybe Kefla, Kid Goku could actually get like a really good spot, whatever the new DPS is. I mean, depending on other buffs, like if they buff like Broly or something like that, Bojack could potentially see a lot more value as well. So yeah, God Topo, another character I think you could see a lot more value with Super Saiyan 3 and God nerfed, actually, which is really funny. But let's take a look here at what the community is saying. So, well, you list these characters, but I don't know what you want to see from them. Like, Deborah, Broly, Bojack, Topo, like you're naming these characters, but I don't know what you want to see, so I don't know how to respond to this, unfortunately. EOS announcement and refund to the $10 you spent during season 1. Wow, that'd be awesome for you, man. Trunks needs to be buffed. I would disagree. Like, I don't think Trunks needs a buff. I think Trunks is in a really good spot right now, actually. I feel like Trunks before the HP buff, especially he got recently, was still good, but he was not crazy. But I think Trunks, like, he's able to do his job really nicely, and I think that it takes knowledge of how Trunks' skill works as well, like, you know, making sure you're managing his extra cooldowns, making sure you're utilizing his skill 1 properly, making sure you're not just diving in. And you could, again, Trunks as a character, you could get punished for if you dive in at the wrong time. But if you are managing your additional cooldowns correctly, you'll be fine, right? Even this could be used for like some silly, funny shenanigans, even though you don't really level this skill up much. At best, like his ultimate maybe could be a little better, but I don't think that's like a necessity. I think he still is fine. Like I don't see an issue with Trunks right now. I think Trunks is in a good spot, in my opinion, anyways. Nerf surfers to EOS. A lot of people want to see EOS. That's valid. The game needs to shape up. I think this season I'm not like expecting like that much, but if they don't lock in by next season, I think that there will be an issue. Like, or not next season. If they don't lock in by what's it called, anniversary, there's 100% going to be an issue regarding that. So I feel like with that in mind, let's just have our fingers crossed and just hope that they know what they're going to be doing. But I mean, we'll see. God Goku and buff Majin Buu. I assume you mean Fat Buu needs to be buffed. That shit. I keep closing this side. Fat Buu buff. I mean, what would I buff for Fat Buu? I feel like Fat Buu is actually kind of inoffensive. Like, he's not crazy good, but he's not bad. But he has the niche. And if you know what you're doing with Majin Buu, he can look good. I still would argue the Candy Ray is like probably one of the more underrated moves in the game. Like if I was gonna say top 3 underrated moves, like Candy Ray would probably be in there, because obviously no one really talks about it, but it is so powerful. It is such a powerful ability. I feel like Majin Buu's passive skill, like, this is what I don't like. He does extra damage on his rush attacks, but I just don't think that's worth anything. I think if this passive skill was reworked, that could be a lot better. What would I change it to? I don't know. Maybe maybe he himself could gain additional passive healing, or like a defensive buff, or like even movement speed up. Like maybe when he heals allied heroes, he could gain a slight movement speed like buff, so that, okay, he can move in, heal allies, and then, you know, maybe pair with skill 3, he can get out super easily. Or he could like help push towers potentially. Like, I don't know. I think something like that, even just like movement speed up, like kind of like, I'm thinking of like similar to Gotenks would be really nice. Not, well, let me explain it. Not a movement speed boost like as good as Gotenks, because Gotenks' movement speed boost is actually, it feels really powerful. When you do get it off, like you definitely can see that, right? But obviously not as strong as that, like not as fast. But I think this guy would benefit from that, because like, what is he doing with more damage? Like, I mean, there are people who run Snowball Buu and cook with him. I know Salja, right? I think that's the Buu player who plays Snowball. That guy cooks with Buu. But I just don't think Boo's role should be like, oh, let's worry about additional damage, right? He's more of a sustained character, so maybe mobility or defense would be what I hope for this guy in his passive, rather than additional damage. But that's me. You like Fat Buu buffs? I mean, we just talked about it, so yeah. Kill Kid Buu. I think Kid Buu should also be nerfed. I think Annie said it could nerf. I feel like Kid Buu nerf is completely valid. I keep opening the Dokkan tab, because I usually have, let me just switch this over like that. The thing about Kid Buu, what would I say is too strong for this guy? I think he's very annoying, right? Like, we could all agree, like, he's an annoying character to play against. I play Kid Buu mostly, so it's hard. It's weird, because it's like, for me, I feel like I see his weaknesses and his strengths. Kid Buu's weakness is he has really big issues, I think, getting out of situations without his ultimate. His ultimate he can use to get out, but if you're trying to go for boss secures or anything like that, or again, you don't have the ultimate out, that could potentially be a big issue. So that's something else to keep in mind when it comes to, you know, Majin Buu. But I think him getting this like a general nerf would be fine. I don't think that would be like the biggest deal ever. Like, I think that's fine. I don't think you need to kill Kid Buu though. He did receive nerfs. He doesn't do nearly as much damage as he used to. So yeah, make a season that's not just OG Dragon Ball. I mean, that's fair. Like, I think a lot of people were not receptive to OG Dragon Ball, and I would agree that dropping 2 OG Dragon Ball characters in a single season was not the right move. I think that they should drop one OG Dragon Ball character season if they're going to do so. Like, again, I've been saying this. Bulma and Bardock switched their release. This season could have been Frieza, Kid Goku, then Super Saiyan Bardock at the end. That would have been pretty fire. Then season 3 could have been Vegito, Kefla, and then Bulma. And then like Bulma's like a little like, you know, kind of like she's just kind of there leading up to the anniversary for season 4. I think that would have been a lot better and a lot more palatable for people. But the issue is that they dropped 2 Dragon Ball characters back to back. And that's like, what, 5 to 6 weeks of people just not really caring that much about the game. All right, I had to put a pause on the recording real quick, but we are back. So right now, in terms of meta, we're in a very balanced and unbalanced position. The characters who are the best are far away the best, but there's a ton of characters who are good. They just have to nerf Godku and 3Q to level the playing field. I would say, again, yeah, those two are the most important. I mean, I talked about it again, but these 3, like, a lot of people will focus on Godku and 3Q, but Vegito, if left unchecked, he could just be a new owner, bro. I'm telling you. I mean, he already is seen in many, many matches. So, somewhere shape. Like, even though he's like the more fair character, he's still really good. So, something has to be done about him. You could also argue Baby. Something could be done about him a little bit. Baby, I just like, again, I can see like an adjustment for Baby. I think he's in a fine spot. Vegito really does like take control over that though. Gamma 1 and 2 buffs. Yeah, dude, the adjustments they get suck. Like, I don't know what they're doing with that character. You could argue the last adjustment hurt them rather than help them. I feel like the thing about the Gammas, I think I just don't really feel their tankiness anymore. Like, am I crazy? Is it just me? They don't really do a lot of damage. Like, they don't feel super tanky, especially like, again, they're kind of like, they have this extra health, which is cool right here, but it is not as impactful non-skill 2 like boost, and they kind of just get melted. I think that, again, 3Q and Godku nerfs could really help these guys because they just, those characters do a lot of burst damage. But man, they need more than what they're getting. That's for sure. That's for sure. They just need more help generally. Nerf Bulma moves that make her faster. Yeah, again, Bulma should not be that fast. I agree. 500 Kefla nerfs and rebuff backstab. Rebuff backstab. I assume that's just for just your hit play, maybe. Or you're just number 1 Kefla hater. I should ask Pokey thoughts. Let me Pokemon thoughts. That's my go right there, Kefla player. But rebuffing backstab, I feel like backstab didn't need that nerf, so yeah, I would say that's valid. Knowing this game we're not getting any major nerfs, we're probably going to be buffing the characters that don't even need it. I mean, that's possible. This game is very scared of nerfing characters. Like, you could very easily tell that, and I don't know why. Like, sometimes you just gotta gut a character, man. Like, they do it once in a while, but they're very scared of nerfing characters. Like, look, we see these nerfs to Super Saiyan 3 and Godku did nothing. This nerf is actually just nothing. This nerf pretty much did nothing. Like, that's just a nothing nerf. Let's go back to 5.2. There's no nerfs here besides that adjustment, which is fine. 5.1, let's see. Kid Buu nerfs, Diamond nerfs. What does this do? I think that Diamond nerfs actually did something to him, to be fair. Actually, yeah, because this was a pretty significant nerf right here. This is what should happen. Like, you see Mini Goku, no one talks about Mini Goku anymore. Mini Goku used to be just like one of the characters that were just like meta, like throughout like multiple seasons. This guy was just like terrorizing. And they finally took him out of the meta. And we see, you know, other characters shine a little bit more. They could do the same with Godku, 3Q. Just let a lot of other characters like Flynn there. We see a lot more. I mean, just like in general, like Trunks, Super Saiyan Goku again, I guess, right? But like maybe not as much. Youth Goku. I mean, we could even see a lot more Oobs. I think Oob is like better than people give him credit for, I would argue. Topo, Bojack, I think Topo Bojack especially, maybe even 18. 18 is actually, she got some really nice buffs. They did a great job with 18 buffs, honestly. Caligula for some reason got nerf, actually, which I find really funny. But like this pure boo, like he already got a bunch of nerfs, so he didn't really need it. But like I feel like at least to the character that matters, 9 out of 10 times the nerfs just aren't enough. And again, you could see when they want to nerf a character like Mini Goku, they will. But they just obviously very clearly didn't put the effort for God Goku or Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Maybe season 6 could be where we see that, but I'm not gonna really hold my breath necessarily, you know. Also, I don't know if you guys hear dogs barking at something outside. Actually, I'm gonna go check it out. Alright, I just wanted to check on him, but he's fine. He's chill. He's just, you know, dogs just bark out the window to just be like doing that type shit. Nothing for tanks except a small Zamasu buff. I guess we could probably get into talking about buffs now. DPS buffs. Who here needs a buff? I think Gatobo can get a slight buff for his skill 3. His skill 3 is pretty weak. Broly will be in a better spot with these two taken out, but that's assuming these two are taken out. If they're not taken out, then Broly needs energy defense still. And then he'll be a much bigger threat, which will be a good thing. Because I think Broly, like, mechanically, Broly could be good. It's just his defense is so weak. And he's really easy to play around if you know how his skills work. I mean, obviously, like, God Goku's better than Broly, but yesterday I was playing as God Goku. And, like, Broly uses ult, but I just, like, skill 2'd, and I killed him through his ult. He was just like a free target for me. You can even probably skill 1 him through it. Come on, bro. It's not okay. It's not okay. Obviously, Gammas. Deborah buffs is funny because if he's too strong, he becomes meta. But you know what? Why not? Well, it'd be annoyingly meta. That's valid. I just like Deborah and Piccolo are just like really interesting. Because it's just like mechanically, they're just like at a fault, you know? That's really it. Even Piccolo's like, he could do good damage. He's really good at securing bosses, but just like character-wise, it's just so easy to jump him. It really is. He's just an open, just like target. That's really it. And especially like God Goku sees, like if God Goku would ever go into the vicinity of like boss pit, which he probably shouldn't, but like in any team fight, you see Piccolo, you could just snipe him. He's dead. GG. Like, yeah. Let's see. In terms of technicals, buffs, I think that at this point we could probably see Kid Han buff. I think Kid Han could definitely get a buff at this point. He just hasn't really been meta like that since season 3. Like he's been out of the meta enough to where I think he needs a buff. You could argue Frieza maybe can get a buff. First one, Frieza. Krillin definitely needs buff. Krillin is like, across all the servers, he's like the lowest win rate character. He's like one of the lower picked characters. Just a sad time for the sport. And obviously, you know, he's not like a Super Saiyan character, but he's bad. Like his mines do nothing in this meta. Like the blind is cool, but that can only take you so far. And it's like conditional blinds. Like his solar flare, obviously, if you know how to land it, it could be useful, but like there is a workaround around it, which is probably a good thing, obviously, but he doesn't have enough other juice in the rest of his kit. His ult pretty much sucks until like later on. Like you could use it to snipe someone, but it's also not the hardest to avoid. It's just one disc, right? And it's also a very small disc. And it, again, until it's maxed out, it doesn't really, like when it's maxed out, his ult could actually be pretty nice, but is it? Would I say Gotenks buff? I don't know. I think Gotenks is fine right now. Boo buff. Like if I was gonna say like these 4, or like the lowest of the 4 technicals in my opinion, like you can give them buffs, but more specifically I think Krillin, Frieza, then Kid Gohan, then Boo. Would probably be my order of buffing those characters if they would get buffs. The rest of the technicals are fine. I don't think there's an issue with them. We already talked about DPS, but I guess tanks. Super Saiyan Vegeta Zamasu. I think Zamasu is probably the one that needs buffs the most at this point. The thing about these characters is that they fall off really hard late game. And it was really funny because I think in earlier seasons of the game, early game was like by far the most important, but now late game is like super common because there's so much extra farm. So when I say late game, it's like when these characters are like, you know, fully maxed out level 10, level 11, level 12. Like we see that super consistently now. Like obviously you were always able to see like level 11 in matches, sometimes level 12, but like I think now you could see even like level 13, level 14 for characters. Like it's a common thing to happen. And especially with these bosses spawning so later in the match compared to what they used to be. I feel like these two, like you could obviously see their issues later game. But Vegeta at least has the ult, which could be useful. And it's like, okay, obviously you don't stand in his ultimate, but it forces people off the spot you ult on. So you could ult on the tower, and you could find use out of that by allowing characters to get chips, potentially. Zamasu doesn't necessarily have that. Like his ult's nice, but I think that he needs more for a later game. Like more beefiness to him even. Because I feel like, you know, kind of does end up getting melted at a certain point, unfortunately. And especially when his revival is propped. Like when his revival is procced and he's like in the animation and he could still take damage and he's just moving super slow. That it's like, okay, what's like he gets a second life, but it doesn't really matter in most situations because he just gets jumped anyways because he's such an open target. It literally doesn't even matter. So yeah, I think everyone else is fine though, honestly. Besides like Bardock getting nerfed, maybe Gogeta could get a slight buff. Cell, maybe, like if they nerf Tao again, Cell should get like a health buff early game. Bulma just needs a nerf. Like 100% Bulma needs a nerf, Bardock slight nerf. And then these two get a buff. And I think tanks are nice again. But like they're already in a nice spot. But like if you want to refine it, that's what I would do. 3Ku Bojack nerf. I don't think Bojack needs a nerf. If they remove healing, then Bojack will be perfectly fine. I just don't see Bojack needing a nerf. 18 does not need a nerf. Deborah does not need a nerf. Small damage nerf and health buff to Kefla. Like, would you guys want Kefla to get more health but trade off some damage for her? I feel like I like Kefla the way she is. Like, she's risky, but you can gain a lot of value from that. And I think late game Kefla could be really powerful as well. So I don't think Kefla... I mean, realistically, Kefla doesn't need a change. I know Annie says could nerf. Like, you technically could nerf her, because if you see these guys get nerfed, Kefla probably moves into a meta spot. But I don't think it's necessary. But I mean, we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Small Daimaku buffs. I think Daimaku's like okay. I don't think he needs, like, it's fine. He doesn't have to be super good. I guess a buff could be okay for him, but Gamma's health buff. Final 4 Frieza Pure Boo, cooldown nerf Gotenks in 17. I think 17's also just like inoffensive. Like, I don't think he's good or bad. I think he's just fine. Like, well, he's good, but I don't think he's like meta good, you know? Outside of like certain situations, like you could argue healing boost, like 17 could be one of the better tech picks easily, if not just like the best tech pick, just because he could have the anti-heal. And that just like, if you are running like a Bojack or 3Ku and you have the anti-heal from 17 on you as a status debuff, that's really annoying. And obviously he could turn buffs into debuffs, which is also like very powerful. So gotta keep that in mind. Toppo, Deborah, Zamasu, Krillin, and Kid Han first from Frieza and Gammas get gigantic buffs to diverse the meta. Godku, 3Ku, Bulma, and Bardock to get nerfed to the point where they don't have a must pick or a disadvantage. I guess that's fair, yeah, I would agree. Divine cards desperately need a huge buff. I'll talk about divine cards in a separate video. I think that's what I'll do. How many days left? A week. I assume someone else answered. 9. It's pretty much 9 a week, right? Trunks does not need more HP buffs, I would say. Cell buff if they nerf Icarus. Deborah for some Frieza. Topo counters. Masu, Broly, yeah. I think a lot of people kind of agree to the same thing. Well, I think baby's fine. I don't think we need more baby buffs. Super Saiyan 3 and Frieza. A lot of people are having issues with Frieza. I feel like... I mean, obviously, I'm seeing like Annie has a potential point here, but I would agree that like Frieza doesn't need a nerf necessarily. Again, they take skill 1 boost off. That's gonna be like useful for like a Frieza quote unquote nerf. Frieza's walls are the issue because they're still bugged, I think. Can I open the game and check that? Are Frieza's walls still bugged? Let me also just like mute the game. Are his walls still bugged? Or did they ever fix that? Is it still an ongoing issue? I genuinely like don't know at the top of my mind if they're still bugged or not. Like, let's take a look. Where is ongoing issues? Yeah, but still bugged. His walls are still bugged, brother. Come on. Is Kid Goku still bugged? He is, isn't he? He's not. Okay, I think they fixed the Kid Goku issue. Frieza's walls are still bugged, though. We're literally like gonna be a season. We're gonna enter the next season, and his rocks are still bugged. We're entering the next season, and half the game is still bugged against his wall, dude. What is happening? What is happening? What is happening? I don't know. I don't know. That's the issue with Frieza, if anything. But I think we talked enough about all this, so let me know what you guys are thinking. I appreciate y'all for watching, and I guess I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.